Good morning, Mel. Wanted to try something a little bit different in preparing lesson plans for tomorrow, so I thought I would give this a shot. All right, so thank you for taking on this task. I know it's anyway. All right, so the last time you were in here, you said that you were a little confused about the morning routine. So let me explain a little bit about that. That way you can kind of prepare for it. So um, I'm not sure whether or not Cora will be back to help you come tomorrow and Friday. I heard there was going to be a sub, but again, we're not really sure. So you may want to head out around 8:30 or so just to make sure that the troops are outside and they're ready to go. Get them lined up and then bring them inside. I've got jobs assigned on the wall, and it's this week. It looks like it's Tino's job to get breakfast prepared. We go ahead and we get the kids seated in their desks, and then Tino comes around and he passes out breakfast. Um, After breakfast is finished, you can then decide whether you want to create a Nearpod or give the kids free time. They may say that they want to do their 1 minute timed readings, which is something that we do for reading fluency, but it's not huge. Gauge how the kids are acting. If you feel like you need a little peace and quiet to get them prepared for specials, I think that's perfectly okay. So at 9:30 they took off to specials, and that gives you time to plan or whatever it is you need to do. The kids will be back at 10:15 after everything is said and done. 10:20 is when reading groups start. Mr. D has his own reading group, so he goes ahead and he does his own thing. Michael and Stephen and Blake are in the highest level group. What I'd like them to do is I'd like them to use this gold book, the Houghton Mifflin reading book. They'll be reading a story called Dear Mr. Henshaw. They can read that with you. They can read that on their own. In fact, Thursdays and Fridays, I try to instill a little bit more independence, just so they can kind of get used to that same kind of routine happening in their own classroom. They can read the story, and then at the very end of the selection on page 432, there are questions. I'd like them to do all six. They can do that either paper pencil or they can go to KidBlog and they can then answer the questions there. They use their own blog page to answer those questions. I'm asking that they at least type out the questions so that I understand what the response is when I go back. Um, Once they're finished with that, they can then create a vocab list on Quizlet, um, and that kind of helps with the vocabulary that they're unfamiliar with in the story, if there is any. I also like to tell them that even though they may know what the word means, they may have difficulty spelling the word, so that helps as well. If they need something else to do, they can go ahead and go to Jeopardy. I wrote it down yesterday, and I'll put it up on the board for you again. It's a Jeopardy game where you use questions from the text to create Jeopardy questions, and so that basically takes care of that group. So the intermediate group looks like Jaden, Marco, Cyrus, and Justice. Justice is probably the highest reader in that group. And he can be put onto Tumble Books. Tumble Books can be found by going to Lion, DPS Lion, going to the Resources tab, and scrolling down to the online resources, and it pops right up. What I'm trying to do with that group is not keep all four of them together because it creates a lot of tension in the group. So I like to try to split them up. So what I've also been doing is creating some time on Read Live. Read Live is an online phonics based game website where they can learn their skills needed for the reading. You can split certain people up to alleviate the stress, or you can have them all go to do that for a certain amount of time. Yesterday, I tried to do that for about 20-30 minutes. That was about as much as I could get out of them. I then got them together in a group including justice, and we sat down and we read stuff from these leveled packets. The selection that I'd like you to either you read with them or to have the substitute that's in here is this one called A Year with Mother Bear. Um, and really just focusing again on text evidence, reminding kids that they don't need to guess when you ask them comprehension questions about what they've read. It's all right there. There is an activity in the folder as well, which is a good one. I use a dry erase marker and a slate to really model what I'm looking for in those responses for the page. That way they don't get them wrong and they don't get frustrated because they don't know how to answer them. And you can do round robin style. Um, so that takes you to about the 11 o'clock to 11:15 hour. You can then take a break to grab snack. Usually that works for about 10-15 minutes. Um, Maybe remind Mr. D in the morning to step outside and just grab some extra snack from the bins outside. And then at 11:15 to 11:30, you can start Writer's Workshop. Again, Writer's Workshop has been using the 6 traits of writing to really use that formula, intro, body, conclusion format to make sure that kids are writing in a good way. Also using the spider technique, which is the circles with kind of the legs and other circles to plan their writing. And we'll make it a free write both days unless you decide that you want to use an actual prompt. That can be paper pencil if you feel like that's what you need to do, or kids can use a voice dictation app that they're familiar with, or they can go to Storybird and create a story which allows them to choose um, pictures to help kind of spark that writing process. Um, I won't be here, so some of them are unfamiliar or don't remember or forget their passwords. And so rather than fight with them about, what's my password and all that, we can just go to the paper pencil model or they can do the voice dictation. That will bring you, of course, to the noon hour, and we have been going outside from noon until 12:30, coming back inside. Kids that are getting work completed can then have free time. Make sure that they show you all the work that they've done. That way you have the proof that it's been finished. And then again from 1 o'clock to 1:30. Oh, I'm sorry, let me back up a second. So at 12:45 we break out and we take them to lunch. They eat here in the room. At 1 o'clock they can then have free time on the computer if all the work is done. If not, encourage them to finish the work so that they can get at least some of the free time that they have earned. Of course, at 1:30 is math. We have been using the 3 rotation model. So skills at Mr. D's table, which is then pulled to the middle of the room so it's accessible. Math games on the computer, and then a Nearpod assignment. And if kids are doing well with that, then at about 2:30 you can then give free time. You can continue if you feel like you're getting a really good flow to the math. And then around 3 o'clock, we're kind of wrapping up our day, getting point sheets copied and, heading outside and enjoying some of the day. So I'll go ahead and stop this recording now. This is just for Thursday, and I will create another one for Friday.